Greetings, my name is Ian Forsyth and I'd like to present you with a tutorial on the usage of a script utility called MEMO.sh. This is a general purpose script for use in a Linux environment for creating desktop reminders or pop-up alerts. In other words, it allows you to set a reminder to pop up on your screen at a particular date and time in the future. This script has two small dependencies, but they happen to be utilities which are included in virtually all Linux installations. So it'd be very unlikely that you would have to go looking for them. One is xmessage, and the other is the @ utility. Let me just bring this up here. Okay, so the dependencies are user bin xmessage, which is used to display a message or query in a window on the desktop, and the other is user bin @, which is a delayed job execution and batch processing utility. Both of these are included in the general commands manual. If I can give you a short demo here, well, just open this up here. Man @. Alright, here's the man page for the @ utility. Queue, examine, or delete jobs for later execution. And man xmessage. Display a message or query in a window. Okay, so put this back down again. I can demonstrate xmessage quickly here. You can enter the text for xmessage either from the command line, either standard input like this, where you get the little pop-up here, which you can move around the screen, but it pops up in the center. And you hit the OK button and it disappears. And the other way that xmessage works is to derive the message content from a file, which is what we'll be doing in this case. Alright, so MEMO.sh is a script to which you use from the command line, and it's an interactive script which prompts you for information required to set up a reminder to happen at a later date. So the script will ask you for four things: the name of a file, the time of the execution of the file, the date of the execution of the file, and the text of the content which you want to display in your message when it occurs. The code for the script is here. You can see that it has a lot of comments. Everything in blue is commented code, and the actual lines of code are very few. So essentially it's a very simple script, but it's deceptively simple because what's happening is more complicated than it initially appears. One thing to notice, however, is that there are no other scripting languages involved here other than simple shell scripting language. There's no awk script modules or Perl or Python or anything like that. Okay, so just drop this down again. General overview is that when you launch MEMO.sh, the first thing that it will do is check to see if you have information recorded from a previous session telling you the location of a log file. It will also check to see if there's a folder in your home directory for recording the memo scripts. If the storage folder isn't there, it will create it. If the file telling the location of the log file doesn't exist, it will prompt you for that information, but only on the first running of memo.sh. After that is recorded, on subsequent launchings, it will go directly to the interactive prompts for the information for your later alert. If I go back briefly to the code, you can see that in the beginning here it's looking for the storage folder. The second section is looking for the location of the log file, and if it doesn't find it, it's the prompting for your information. Oh, there's another X message that I'm telling me that I'm up late. So that's how that works. Okay, so and then the third part is the interactive prompting for your date, time, file name, and message content. And the fourth part is the automatic steps for the creation of your storage script. I drop that down again. Overview of what happens. Memo.sh is launched. It takes input on the first run only. It has input for log file location path. Then on every launch of the script, it will ask you for storage script file name, which is referred to as the variable file. Time and date for the job queue, and message content, one or more lines. Okay, that goes into memo.sh. The output is to create a log file location indicator in home.memolog file, but only on the first run. But on every other run, it creates your storage script in home reminders with the name that you specified during the input. Okay. So at the conclusion of memo.sh, a file has been created in the reminders folder, which in my case is right here. It's empty right now. And the scheduler has created a job queue. Okay, so if I go back to my command prompt here and go queue, you will see that there are several jobs lined up in the scheduler, and each job has a separate number associated with it, and also a specific date and time associated with it. And those jobs are associated with specific files in your reminders folder, which you don't see now because I've removed my personal reminder files for this demo. But I'll be adding some new ones to demonstrate how the script works. So when the date and time of the memo arrives, the @scheduler activates your storage script. Now those scripts contain a series of commands which launch a sequence of events. First of all, it creates a message content file called memo in the home directory. Secondly, it appends a log file entry to your memologs.txt. Thirdly, it uses xmessage to create the desktop display of the information in your memo file. And fourthly, it does a cleanup operation where it deletes that temporary memo file, and it also deletes the storage script in the reminders folder. So that's the full sequence of events. So let's do a quick demo here. If I open, in my case, I have a link in my user local bin directory called mem, which launches memo.sh. Okay, so I hit mem, and now I have already got my log file directory specified. So, and it has detected that. It says using misfiles memologs.txt for logging memo events. Current contents of the reminders directory is empty, but if it had other files in it, it would list them. And then it says new message file name, not to conflict with the above list. So when you enter your new file name, you don't want it to overwrite a pre-existing memo, which is already in the directory, so that's why it does that. Okay, so let's say test 1 is going to be our first one. And then that message time, we'll make it for, 1 minute from now at 22:16. Message date, if you're using a date, it has to be in this format with the backslashes, month, day, year. I've only found that the backslashes work. If you try to use colons or anything else, it doesn't seem to work very well. So use this format, and if you just hit enter, that's the default for today. So I hit enter, so that's today. And this is going to happen in about 30 seconds, so we'll just enter a line of text here. This is a test message from memo.sh. Okay, so that, you can see, has produced a queue. At queue, you will see it, job number 40 here, and you also see over here test1 file in the directory. Okay, now the time has arrived. The X message pops up on the screen. This memo posted at Monday, June 27th, 22:16 Pacific Daylight Time, 2016. This is a test message from memo.sh. Alright, so if I hit OK, we will see that the cleanup operation occurs, and this test file in reminders folder should disappear. Click OK, and the file disappears. And let's go see if the information was logged in my log file. Cat miss memo logs.txt, and at the end of it, this memo posted, this is a test message from memo.sh. So that's the last one. So you can keep track of these events with this log file. Here's the screen again. One final point is that when you're entering the content for your display message, it's usually just a simple one-liner. But should you want to add a multi-line content, let's do a second one here. Mem. Alright, message file name, multi-line. Message, okay. It's going to be in 30 seconds, 22:18. Time to that. Alright, today, line 1. Line 2. Line 3. Alright. Multi-line message. The file has appeared in reminders. Here's our message popping up with the separate lines. Okay. What I did there, I did not hit enter for creating the separate lines of the output. Instead, I used the //n sequence within the text of the message in order to indicate new lines. The reason is that the moment you hit enter or return key during the content entry, that's the end of the script, so you terminate it at that point. Alright. If few things here. When I said before that the sequence of events isn't quite as simple as it at first appears, it's tempting to think that the files that are created in the reminders folder are simply message contents which the X message will then use to display on your screen. But instead, the files that are created in the reminders folder are actually scripts in themselves. They are lists of commands which are executed to make the display happen once the @scheduler kicks in. So as such, it's a list of commands in a script, but it doesn't have to be made executable because the @scheduler sees them as a list of commands and executes them anyway. Alright, so that's why I've referred to the files which end up in home reminders folder as stored scripts rather than as memo files. And when those scripts are activated at the time of activation, what is more correctly a memo file is created as a temporary file, and that temporary memo file is used to both feed information into the log file appended at the end of it, and also to for Xmessage to read and produce your desktop display. Okay, so that just about wraps it up. This is a type of script which might be general purpose use for many people. I hope you enjoy the tutorial, and if you have any interest in MEMO.sh, please let me know. Bye for now.